p320 grip module. Like that grip with the Legion. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. I'm Grant McLean. This is a concealed carry channel. We're going to do another honest review here of a cool product that Wilson Combat put out, and this is their p320 grip module. The one I have here is their standard carry size in the color black, and so show you how to disassemble your firearm, pull the firing control unit out, and then be able to put that into the Wilson Combat one, and we'll talk about some of the features right there. But before we jump into that, make sure you hit that like and subscribe, and of course share this with your friends, family, and other concealed carry gun enthusiasts or gun enthusiasts in general. That helps out the channel immensely. And then also, if you guys need any firearms shipped to your FFL, you're looking for a gun, go to nwarmory.com. The folks over at Northwest Armory have been a huge help with the channel, supplying us with guns for our honest tabletop reviews. That way we can kind of dissect those and make sure that you get relevant information on whether or not, before you spend your money, of course, is something going to be a good fit for you, okay? So what we're going to review today is the Wilson Combat grip module. So let's go ahead and pop this out of the box. Pretty basic clamshell style of packaging. And inside you're going to have a little manual here on the disassembly and reassembly of your firearm, okay? So what we're going to put into this grip module is actually the firing control unit out of a SIG X Carry that I have here, this p320 X Carry. Wonderful gun. Unfortunately, they've been discontinued. But I'll also show you a couple other slides on this module as well, so you can see aesthetically how that looks, and then we'll test out some of the magazines in there, and we can also see the aesthetics of that. So a little bit about these guys. They're 65 bucks, which is fantastic considering you can't really buy anything from Wilson Combat for 65 bucks. They do come with the factory mag release already installed, so that's a plus. And you do have a optional tungsten weight kit that you can put in the back strap here. I do have the weight kit in this one, and it's 3 rods that go in the back there. I'll talk a little bit more about that weight kit in the review here, but let's go ahead and kind of compare this to the X grip module and the kind of previous generation of 320 grip module, okay? So let's go ahead and disassemble this. Of course, you want to make sure your magazine's out, chamber is clear, and let's go ahead and pop this slide off here. All right. Now, let's go ahead and remove the firing control unit so that way we can compare these without anything kind of in the way. All right. So the way that you're going to remove this firing control unit is pretty simple. You're actually going to take out this takedown lever, and then you're just going to pop this out of there. So I'm going to kind of go through this step by step with you, okay? So right now we have this lever almost parallel to the trigger there. What we're going to do is we're going to turn that back parallel to the grip module, okay? On the other side here, we're just going to push that through, and you can see it pushes through fairly easy. I just did that with my finger. I would recommend, if it's a little bit tight, to maybe use like the back of a pen or something like that. Not something that's going to mar it or anything, okay? So from there, basically just get a good grip on the grip module and take this, and what I found is that if you just wiggle it back and forth like this as you pull, it'll just pop right out, okay? So from here, just take your fingers, put them on the front, kind of pinch, and then pull up and forward, up and forward, and out it goes, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at these, comparing them side by side. So we have the X module, okay, and then here's the Wilson. So they both have the rail in the front here, okay. One of the things I do notice though is there is grip. They have done some grip stippling here on the X module, the factory one. On the Wilson, it is smooth. The undercut on the trigger guard on both of these is fantastic, so you get that nice high purchase on the grip. The Wilson, though, does have one of the things that I like here, and that's where your thumb goes. So this thumb indent doesn't really exist on the X grip module, but it does exist on the Wilson, which getting that thumb nice and deep into that grip, but also getting that thumb nice and close to that magazine release is a big plus for me, being that I don't have very big hands, okay? So for this one here, I found that the magazine release is just outside of where my thumb can get a nice positive grip and manipulation of that magazine release. But this one is very simple as far as that goes. Let's talk about the texturing between the two. So on the back and front strap of the Wilson Combat, it is definitely more aggressive than the SIG factory one, okay? Now, one of the things I do like about this factory SIG one is, even though it's not as aggressive as the Wilson Combat one I would compare more so in texturing to like the Smith & Wesson 2.0s, okay? Or like a skateboard tape. But the SIG does have that texturing on the main panel of the grip as well, so the side panels, versus the Wilson Combat has their, starburst pattern, which looks really good, but it's slippery, okay? It's slick. So what I found is that as my hands get sweaty in this area here, they do tend to slide a little, but I do understand why this is a little bit more slippery. More smooth, I should say, is because, keep in mind, this is meant to be a carry module, okay? So with that being said, when you have this on your person, where is your skin going to touch? Where is your clothing going to touch? It's going to touch the sides, not the front and back. So, this could keep from like chafing or irritation or, snagging your clothing and stuff like that and ruining that stuff. So I do understand that, but for me, I would like to have had that a little bit more aggressive, okay? But it depends on what kind of holster you have. If it's, if the holster is going to cover that, as far as like your inside the waistband or even outside the waistband holsters. Okay, so just something for you to consider. Let's take a look at those Magwells. So you see that this one doesn't really have a flare to it. I do like this Magwell and this grip better than the older style of SIG p320 module. But you can see how this is definitely flared out. And I do like the flare on this because it also does support the palm of my hand. So the bottom part, it does kind of support that from falling off the bottom, which is awesome. So with this one, that palm will just kind of fall right off the bottom. With this one, you can see that palm kind of stays nice and high in there, which I do really like, okay? As far as the back of this and the beaver tail, you'll see this one's a little bit more pointed. This one's a little bit more rounded. I like this one a little bit more because it reminds me more so of like a 1911. And as you know, Wilson Combat makes fantastic 1911s and 1911 style guns. So I do really like that feel. Between the two, I don't really notice a difference as far as shooting the gun, which one's going to be better or worse as far as that beaver tail goes. So, not a deal maker or deal breaker as far as that goes. You'll see on the front here, though, this is like my only thing that kind of drove my OCD nuts, is there's these little serrations right in front of where the takedown lever goes. And those little serrations make absolutely no sense on the gun. So you'll see I'm going to put some different slides on there, and this just made absolutely no sense. I would have loved to have had them do maybe the same texturing on the main panels, side panels of the grip up here, or even this kind of skateboard tape-ish type of texturing where those are. That would be my only thing I would change. But let's go ahead and grab the older module here. So here's the older module. This one does come in small, medium, and large, which I guess would be a plus comparative to the Wilson Combat or even the X grip module, because they basically come in one size. It's either full size, well, as far as the grip itself, But, you know, this module here will come in, you know, compact, and then there's a full size, and then I believe there's a compact 2 now that just came out, and it'll come in black or tan. But this one here, you can actually get different grip modules to make this grip fatter or smaller depending on your hands. So that would be a plus, I guess, you know, with keeping this one. You can see the undercut on the trigger guard here is higher, so you're getting a nice higher, you know, you're getting, in my opinion, a much higher grip placement versus the older one. So I do like that. And then, as I was saying earlier, so this thumb indent here versus this one, so you see how this sits, almost comes right to the center, a little bit higher on the magazine release. So your thumb is resting above the mag release, okay? And then it has to go over that hump to get to it. So this, I did notice, was the deal maker between the two. This one, this thumb indent goes down below the mag release. So taking your thumb, and you're not going over anything, you're just going down. And that, taking that material away made a big difference for me because my hands aren't big. So I just have regular medium-sized hands, okay? All right, so, but that doesn't mean anything else. I just have medium-sized hands. No. Okay, so outside of that, for $65, if I had this module, I'd totally throw that out and I'd get one of these, okay? Now, let's go ahead and take a look at this beauty on a couple different slides. So, as I showed you earlier, I pulled the firing control unit out of a X-Carry p320, and we're going to go ahead and put that back into this Wilson, okay? So the way we're going to do that is we're going to take the back of the firing control unit and put that into pretty much where the beaver tail is, okay? And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be pushing down and back at the same time. And on this trigger, you're going to want to take your finger and just push that in slightly, so that way we can kind of guide that down into the trigger guard there, okay? So you can see I just pushed in with my finger, and we're going to push down and back. There you go. Simple as far as that goes. You know, when I first started doing this, disassembling and reassembling, I had to kind of wiggle it back and forth a little bit, and then, you know, manipulate the trigger a little bit, but for the most part, it goes in just as you saw there. You'll hear a nice click to it. Now, to put in that takedown lever, what we're going to do is the same way that the takedown lever position that you put the takedown lever in, kind of like parallel to the trigger when you're disassembling the gun, is how we're going to start off to put that back in, okay? So we're going to put that pretty much like parallel to the trigger, okay? And we're just going to push in with our thumb, and you'll feel that go, just kind of pop in. There we are. All right, so now it's in there a little bit. And what I found is that if you just take this and get a good grip on it, and you kind of wiggle this backward like you're turning a key, you'll feel it kind of going. And you just apply pressure inward, okay? So we're just going to wiggle that back and forth, and there we go. All right, so now that's in. Okay, so from here, it's almost all the way in. What we're going to do is we're going to rotate this clockwise all the way to where this takedown lever is parallel to the grip module, okay? The same way as when the gun is assembled, parallel to the slide, parallel to the grip module. And we're just going to push that in, and you'll hear it click, just like that, okay? So now it's ready to go. We need to put the slide back on, so we're going to go ahead and take that lever, turn it all the way back to where it's almost parallel to the trigger, okay, like when you disassembled it, and we're going to put that slide back on there, okay? Let's make sure that guide rod is good, okay, all the way back, push up that slide lock release, flip the slide lock lever back over, and voila. Now we have our X-Carry slide, barrel, and firing control unit inside the Wilson Combat carry frame. or carry grip module. Look at that. How awesome is that? Fantastic. Okay. So great, looks great on here. Really does. Functions really well. Nice, comfortable. Definitely could see, you know, swapping out this one here. You can see it's a little bit more bulky. This is a little bit more ergonomic and refined here on the bottom with the X module. The older one does have some of those characteristics where it's a little bit more rounded, but might be a little bit fatter of a grip. This is thinner, in my opinion. Feels definitely thinner. Fantastic when shooting. Love that. I mean, functions just like it should. Just gives you a nice positive purchase on the gun comparative to the other modules, in my opinion. Fantastic for 65 bucks. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, because this grip module can also, you can also use this with the other P320 slides. So let's take a look at those slides on here for aesthetic purposes, okay? All right, so let's go ahead, take that slide off, and we're going to pop a Pro Cut slide on there. So this is the P320 Pro Cut slide. So let's go ahead and pop this on here and see how it looks. Look at that. That looks sharp. Doesn't that? Huh? That's a good looking gun for sure. I really do like these Pro Cut slides, and I'll talk more about them too. I got another Pro Cut slide coming, which is for the full size, so we'll do kind of like a side-by-side comparison, and then also a functionality test, and you know, let you guys know if that's going to be a good fit for you. They're about 400 bucks, so you know, it's not super expensive, but it's I would say it's expensive enough where you want to see the differences before you purchase, okay? Because they are kind of hard to get, so you know, one of those things that you might not want to just impulsively purchase. Okay, so that looks really good. Now, remember I was talking about these front serrations earlier, how they don't really make sense. So if you look at the serrations on the slides and then you look at the serrations on the grip module, you'll see how they don't really line up in any fashion at all. You know, same as like with the carry slide. So the carry slide has the same serrations as this. But you can see they don't necessarily make very much sense. So that is something that, like I said, I would change. I wish they put this texture or the back texture up here, and then it would have made more aesthetic sense, in my opinion. Okay, but let's go ahead and pop this barrel and slide assembly off. And we're going to actually put, this is a Legion full size. So we're going to go ahead and put this barrel and slide assembly onto the compact frame right there. So you can see that slide does hang off the end. But, you know, one of the cool things is, unlike some of the Glocks where if you put it onto a compact frame, so if you've ever put it like a 17 or 34 slide onto a 19 frame, you have this huge gap, and that's not good. You know, with this module and these full size slides with the P320s, it does cover all of that, which looks really nice. Okay, fantastic. You know, I think that those serrations don't bug me as much, being that these slide serrations, there's space in between, so I could probably get over that, but this feels great. So if you have the Legion and you have this heavy TXG module, which that module is fantastic, but you want to take your Legion and carry it on your person, I think that this would absolutely be a fantastic option for you. You know what I mean? As far as that goes. Okay, it's not going to have the weight, and it's not going to have the big giant magwell, metal magwell, but it does have a magwell. It is thinner and significantly lighter as far as that goes. So adding a little bit more versatility to maybe your race gun or a gun that you fire at the range and get a lot of practice with. So that's a good option there. All right, so let's take a look at these magazines, okay? So I have 3 different mags for you guys to look at with this. We have the extended magazine for the P320 from SIG. We have the Legion magazine, and then we have just the factory standard P320 17 rounder right there. The one that I like the most is the standard one, and I'll show you why. You'll see how this is nicely rounded, and so is the magazine. So let me go ahead and put a slide on here real quick. When you pop this in there, you can see that that complements the Magwell nicely. Okay, looks good, of course, functions great, just as it should, right from the factory. Okay, perfect. Now, the other ones that we're going to be looking at here is the Legion, and this is the aluminum base pad one. You can see it's really square, so when we're looking at the grip module there versus the base of this, it functions well, but aesthetically wise, it doesn't really match up, which is kind of a bummer, because I do like these magazines. I just wish that, you know, with the Legion stuff, they would have made this, you know, an extended magazine, considering that's kind of their race gun. And the only extended magazines are going to be these guys, which we'll pop into this here in a second. So functionality wise, works well. So if you don't have any of the standard ones, you can still use it. Aesthetically wise though, I do like this one still better. Okay, last one we're going to pop in here is the extended mag. Okay, again, a little more boxy, as you can see, so it kind of clashes with the round Magwell there. The texturing looks on these look really good when you have it like against the X module. This one here matches cohesively, but on this it doesn't really, so that's kind of one of the things. So if you're an aesthetics person, that could be one of those things where you're like, I don't really want to have that. I want it to look nice and flush. I think most people are probably going to be using the standard mags because, you know, again, these are more so designed for carrying. So 17 rounds in that mag works and looks fantastic. Okay, so I do really like that a lot. Looks great, feels great. That's a big plus. So anyways, you guys, yeah, 65 bucks. You know what I mean? You got a tungsten weight set that you can get for it. You know, the tungsten weight set is about 20 bucks. I think 19, 20 bucks. It'll just go into the back of the module here. So when you take out your firing control unit, you'll be able to push those down in there. The middle one will need some silicone, so you'll need to make sure you get a little bit of silicone from your hardware store before you put that in. The smaller ones on the outsides, those ones go in just fine. Other than that, you know, I do think it's well worth the 65 bucks. So if you have a p320, you're considering a different grip module, something that's going to be kind of an upgrade from what you might have had, this is a good option. So anyways, you guys, thanks so much again for joining us today on this episode of the Conceal Carry channel. I'd love for you to hit that like, hit that subscribe, and of course comment for us. And if you need anything for as far as guns go, reach out to the folks over at Northwest Armory, nwarmory.com, and you can buy the guns and they'll ship it to your local FFL. If you do go into the store, say hey to everybody, let them know that Grant McLean with the Concealed Carry channel sent you in. They're going to make sure to take care of you, and make sure to be nice to Khaki. He's such a good boy. All right, you guys, so I got some fun stuff coming up in our next review, so make sure you hit that subscribe so that way you get notified, and I look forward to seeing you then. So you got all sorts of fun stuff going on here, and we have the Wilson Combat, baby. All right, cool. So let me know when you want me to clap.
Clap.
But in the center, or on the, it's just not as, I guess. All right. The grip texturing on what am I saying? So, okay.
I think that's a wrap on this one.
No, you got it. It's a wrap.